Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of The Drop. This is Hammad.
This is Hasnaat.
My name is Hanzla.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Champions League final in Madrid. Liverpool beats Tottenham by 2 goals. Did they really deserve it? Now they have 6 European Cups behind only Madrid and AC Milan. We're going to be talking with our guests about the Champions League final, its implications, how it stands in terms of the great finals of the past, and much more. Thank you for being with us. So I'll start with you, Hasnaat.
Yeah.
What did you think about the match? Did you really think that Liverpool deserved to beat Tottenham?
Liverpool had a fantastic campaign. They won against PSG, they won against Bayern and Barcelona, 4-0 to Barcelona. So I think they deserve to win the Champions League.
But what about the final in specific? Do you think that they produced enough quality on the pitch?
I think
they
they
only
were
had about 35% of the possession.
I think there were some mistakes by the Tottenham defense. Sissoko gave away the penalty in the first minute, and that was a major problem for Spurs. So Mohamed Salah took the chance and scored. I think the Sadio Mane played a very great game. Virgil van Dijk was tremendous, and Alisson Becker was fabulous.
So Hanzla, let me come to you. What did you think about the final, and tell us about how this will leave an impact in terms of the future? Like in the past, we've seen Real Madrid winning 3 times, and then Barcelona. English teams, the last time an English team won the Champions League was back in 2012 when Chelsea won it. How do you think this will impact the future of English football and the final in general as well?
I think the parallel that I would like to draw here is that of a big movie that gets nominated for the Oscars, and everyone's talking about that, you got to see that. But when the actually movie comes out, it's not as exciting as it ought to be. So that was the final. I think if I had to sum it up in a nutshell, it was one of the the drabbest finals I have ever seen in the recent memory. Even the 2003, the Milan and the Juventus final, which didn't see any goals, I think it was somewhere along those lines. I expected more from the two teams. I expected Liverpool to attack more. They didn't have a lot of possession. Tottenham, on the other hand, if any team that looked like scoring in the second half, to be very honest, it was Tottenham. But they didn't create enough chances. The processing wasn't crisp enough. It wasn't as incisive as it should have been, or something that you can be associated with the Champions League final in the past. Coming back to the second part of the question, that we're seeing this tide. We had 2 English teams fighting it out for the Champions League final, and both for the Europa League final. So I think this is something that we're going to see, and it's going to stay here for a very long time. Given the finances that are involved with the English game, I think the English game is on the rise. If you take out Real Madrid or Barcelona, or basically the Cristiano Ronaldo or the Lionel Messi factor, I think the English teams are actually going to do very well in Europe in the coming 5 to 10 years. The last 10 years that we didn't see they did do quite well. I think that's going to be behind us, and we're actually going to see not just Liverpool, I mean Manchester City, Tottenham, if they invest budget into their players, they're going to do very well as well. And Chelsea, they're always going to be there and thereabout.
So Hasnaat, as Hanzla was mentioning about how he felt that Tottenham were likely to score in the second half.
Yeah.
But can you empathize with why Liverpool went with this approach? I mean, if you look back at the finals Klopp has lost, and the finals Liverpool have lost in recent times, can you understand why they chose a pragmatist, sort of a Jose Mourinho type tactics in the match?
I think the main problem was the defense back in the final, which they lost to Real Madrid. I think the keeper had the main factor. Alisson Becker had a quality performance, and Robertson, Matip, and Virgil van Dijk.
Okay, so Hanzla, what did you think about Tottenham in general? I mean, a team that did not spend a single penny in the transfer market to come this far, to consecutively in recent seasons qualify for the Champions League, where you have the likes of Man United, Arsenal, spending huge millions of pounds in the transfer market, and having a manager who has risen from the from grassroots level. What did you think about their journey, and where do you think they are going in the future?
I think Mauricio Pochettino deserves all the credit in the world for the fantastic work he has done. He's a very emotional kind of guy, and we know that he takes huge pride in the performance of his team. He shows up every week. He actually it's not easy to motivate such limited squad to work on such tight financial resources, but he's done a wonderful job. And I think coming back to the final, for a team that went down so early in the game, that Tottenham did very well to actually hold their shape. They didn't lose their composure. They were actually the better team. I mean, if you go through the stats, they had like 62% of the possession. Although they didn't create clear-cut chances, but they controlled the flow of the football. Harry Kane, I mean, you could have expected more from Harry Kane to rise to the occasion. He's Mr. Tottenham. But I mean, you cannot take anything away from Tottenham with the resources they have. To come this far is nothing sort of impeccable, and I think they're going to stay here. We're going to see Tottenham build on this in the coming seasons. And Tottenham, I mean, not just in the Europe this season, in the league as well, we've been seeing that they've been consistently finishing in the top 3, top 4 places. I think Mauricio Pochettino has done a wonderful job. I hope the board supports him, Daniel Levy, and they are raising the funds to them to get a very good team. And if they sort it out, so hopefully, I mean, they're going to be there and thereabout next season.
Okay, so the last question I have for both of you: do you think Liverpool were a one-season wonder in terms of? Do you think that they're going to build on this? Are they a team for the future? Are they a team like Man United or Chelsea that dominated football for years?
They used to say about Klopp that, there's a famous joke in Germany that what does Jurgen Klopp do after his side has won a cup final? And the answer to that used to be that he closes his PlayStation and goes to sleep. Not anymore. So if I'm Man United, if I'm Arsenal, if I'm Chelsea, I think I should be really scared for the next season, because Sadio Mane said it and Bobby Firmino said it as well, that they are not going to settle for this. I mean, they're going to come hard again next season. And I think the thing that goes into their advantage is that most of their team is young and they're not going anywhere. I mean, Salah was tipped to head over to Real Madrid, but they've got Hazard now, so Salah is surely staying, and they're not going to lose any member of the squad. The midfield, it looks a bit depleted. I mean, you have the likes of Henderson and Milner, who are not getting any younger, but if they find suitable replacement for them, I mean, they are going to wreak havoc next season. So, as a United fan, I can, agreeing with Hasnaat, they are going to be, major contenders for titles. I hope they don't do well, but it looks like that they're going to be very good next season.
So before we wrap up today's drop, we have a fan in Manchester. Saad is here with us, and he has his analysis on the match. Saad, what did you think about the match?
I think it was a tale of two managers over here, because Pochettino started with Kane up top, and Kane hadn't played in ages, and he has a track record of performing badly when he comes back from injury. He played the whole match over here. I think Lucas Moura should have started. He scored a hat-trick in the last game, deserved it. Klopp started with Firmino up top, but he changed it around. He brought on Origi. Origi scored the goal, and I think that just reflected the whole theme of Klopp's campaign, because he saw a problem, he fixed it. He bought Van Dijk, who's been rock at the back. He bought Alisson, who was the man of the match over here. And overall, there was not just a gung-ho attacking football, there was a better balance over here. Defense, attack, midfield, they were all in sync. And I think that's what they're the champions of Europe over here.
If you like this video, do leave a comment and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So this is it for today, guys. I hope you liked this conversation, and do share your feedback with us. And we want you on the drop as well. If you think you're competent and eloquent, let us know and we'll have you on the drop.